What was the worst thing you saw on the internet so far? Worst thing I've seen on the internet was a cartel video where they blindfolded a man, cut off his hands, then made him try to defend himself while another man knifed him in the mouth. Pretty ducked up. My brother told me about a cartel one he saw where they opened this guy's chest up while he's still alive, pulled his heart out and showed it to him in those few seconds he had left to live, and then took a bite out of it. He said that was on Best Gore or some site. I asked him what he was doing watching shit like that. He said he's just desensitized to it all now. Yeah, I saw one that was similar. They cut his dad's head off in front of him and then took out the kid's heart, and you could hear and see that he felt every slice as they pulled it out. It was sucked. A video of a guy jumping off a train, hitting a pole and ducking, exploding. Needed to save those 10 extra seconds while the train stopped. I saw 2 guys get decapitated via chainsaw on iFunny. I haven't touched that app since. That doesn't sound very funny. That's iFunny for you. A young black kid on his knees in the back of a van. He was so quiet as this other older black guy cut off his head. I couldn't shake off what that poor boy went through for a very long time. It was his silence that hit me the most. I couldn't understand why he didn't cry or fight or anything. It was just the despair I felt watching this. A lot of the times the people will give them drugs so they don't fight or do anything. They are too drugged to care about anything. My brother told me it makes it hard for them to fall into unconsciousness too, so they feel the pain longer. I've seen enough on Watch PRPD that I'm pretty desensitized to most gore videos now. There's one that really sticks out in my mind though. I saw a cartel video where the guy was skinned alive and being dragged around by a hook they had down his throat. The guy was trying to scream or something but couldn't. I backed out of that pretty quick. The cartel guys were insanely casual about it though. There was only one guy in frame, but the rest of them were listening to music and laughing in the background. It really put into perspective how brutal and just pure evil the cartel is. Another one that stuck with me is the one where a family is driving down the highway and a brick wasn't tied down properly on a truck, so it came through the windshield and killed the wife instantly. There's no gore, but you can hear the reactions of her husband and kids really clearly. That one was just a little bit too real. The brick audio is the worst thing I've ever heard / seen. So sad. Seriously. I saw it maybe 5 years ago and am still scared to drive behind any kind of truck carrying things. It's so scary because 1 minute everything is normal and in an instant it's dead. I had a friend messing around on a computer back in our teenage days. He called me over. Knew I shouldn't have went, but why the hell not? It was a slideshow of videos of Asian dudes tying up and then cutting off their own junk. I've seen worst things, like high-speed car crashes, but for some reason seeing a man cut off his own dick and balls has forever been burned into my mind. Duck you, Brandon. Shit you see when you're younger tend to hit way harder and stick around for much longer. I'd watched the Dead Island 1 trailer in a mall waiting on my mom when I was 9. And even though it's just a zombie thing, it's much tamer compared to other stuff here. That shit had me petrified. Now 10 years later, whenever someone shows me that trailer I feel a bit uneasy. Same thing happened to me, but with a different zombie media. I used to play Black Ops Zombies with a friend as a kid. It was my first experience with any FPS, and now the piano music in the menu is spooky AF. This will never be on the internet, but I saw it. I worked with a guy who was a cop when he lived in Haiti. He showed me a video on his phone. A guy had been caught molesting a very young girl, so the family found him and attacked him with machetes. He stuck up his arm to defend himself and it cut halfway through and then kinda hung there, and he kept trying to defend himself with his half amputated arm. Good. Duck that guy. Do not duck that guy. A man's head cut in half. Duck AskReddit 50/50. Cut in half. 50/50 checks out. Oh god lol. Okay, these are some weak ass comments. I got one to top them all. NSFL warning. I was on Live a Leak and stumbled on the usual NSFL videos. One was different. It wasn't just a quick death or beheading or something. This was a video of man in some African town. No context. But he was continuously getting large rocks and cinder blocks thrown and smashed on top of his head. I'm talking intent to kill shit. He was surrounded by a large crowd cheering it on. This went on for 10 video minutes. They kept beating him until his head had, no lie, doubled in size, was covered in blood and he fell to the ground. Then someone else came and set him on fire, which immediately got him up and running again, desperately trying to put the fire out, until someone came from behind and gave him a blow to the head that broke the cinder block. He was unconscious and someone again set him on fire, his crotch specifically, and he just laid there and didn't move while the whole crowd cheered. What really aids this into being more disturbing is how you can physically tell he was begging for them to stop. Dunno why they did it, but man, it must have been something serious. It was a hard watch. He was a rapist. I saw that one. It was bad. I hope so. Not that I condone torture, but it's not hard to fabricate a story with videos like this. Saw a picture of a dead woman and her entrails are ripped out, and I'm pretty sure her eye is in her mouth, and the caption is "Every job has its perks," and the guy taking the picture is fingering her. Edit. I found the picture, but don't know how to share it. What the duck? I don't kink shame, but man, that just sounds so awful. The only person into that would be a ducking terrorist of a war criminal. There was a subreddit called r/q to family corpses. It no longer exists, thankfully. It was here on Reddit. The comment was about Isa Isaguro, the Japanese cannibal who killed and cannibalized Reinhardt of Alt. The person linked a police picture of her dead body without warning of what the picture was. Classic Reddit. I also love when people put spoiler text around something, but they don't specify what topic it is they are trying to hide from being spoiled. So you click on it, and your movie/show/book is suddenly spoiled, because 90% of this ducking shithole doesn't understand to just label the title of the content they're spoiling outside of the spoiler text. I speak from experience. Way before YouTube, I downloaded a video from a file sharing service that claimed to be war footage. While most of it was the same stuff you see on History Channel shows, there was a section of videos showing Russian soldiers clearly committing war crimes, probably in the early 90s. I've seen plenty of awful stuff, but seeing innocent people so coldly and callously murdered like that was just too much for me to take. It still haunts me today, and I get anxiety now when I see a war documentary. The Chechen wars were something else. I think it was one of the first wars where beheading videos and the like were uploaded to the internet. I've shown this list before, but here we go. 1. A beheading by a Mexican cartel. 2. Bestiality. 3. A dick nailed to a table. 4. A firework incident. 5. A man cut in half. 6. Tornado man. I won't get into detail, but it involves a train. 7. A head split in half. The guy was still alive. 8. A deformed baby to the point he looked like a pig more than a human. 9. A baby with cyclopia. 10. The 1444 video. 11. A baby getting ran over by a train. 12. One man, one jar. 13. Some more that my mind is trying to block out. Oh, it's a video of a suicide with a shotgun to the head. You've seen some, thanks. The one from the news, chopper on a bridge. That was ducking awful. A guy raping a chicken. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get away from the guy trying to rape him. Duck you for making me laugh. On r/5050 I saw a nuclear bomb victim when I was 9, thanks Lazarbeam. I think it's r/5050, yay. The remains are of a man who crashed his motorbike going 200 plus miles per hour, 321 plus kilometers, and he was jellied. Bits and pieces of him scattered across the road and railing of the highway. I don't get disgusted or shy away from gore, but that made my stomach flip. His face was torn from his head and a good 50 feet from his body. It was just so nasty. I don't think I could find the link and I don't want to. OWAHT the duck, that's goddammit. I read your user and thought the same thing. There was a video going around on Facebook maybe a year ago of a girl getting decapitated. That was burned in my mind for a week, and I still remember it. The girl was in her 20s or something on vacation hiking alone in North Africa. I guess it ended up being 2 guys from ISIS that raped her then decapitated her with a machete. I can watch all the murders, the beheadings, the gore, all the shit. But I cannot, and never will be able to, watch a video of someone being raped. I've seen the video you're talking about, the solo backpacking girl, without any context nonetheless. I immediately put my phone down, ate a duck ton of Xanax and just smoked weed until I felt like I was able to forget it. Absolutely horrible. Porn where the woman wore full back panties instead of a thong. Can you ducking imagine? I've scrolled for too long in the comments. Jesus ducking Christ. Those soft acoustic covers of popular hip hop songs. Gentrified hip hop. This post. Hentai of Gru ducking Margus eye socket after being cut out. WTF bro, right? 2 girls 1 cup. Still have never seen it and never will. Industrial accident. The guy was near a massive spool of large cable and his foot got caught in it. The line broke and the spool took him with it as it rotated. Just getting faster and faster and faster to the point where each rotation slammed his head and body into the bar above and into the concrete, squeezing him in between the spool and the floor. He must have been rotating with it about 2 times every second for about 20 seconds until somebody hit the emergency stop. It was too late by the first go around though. It was a mangled bloody mess. Doesn't help knowing I work with similar equipment. I wanna forget that video. The amount of people on Reddit who defend pedophiles. Something on Liver Leak. A guy obviously off his tits on drugs on top of some kind of structure. He pours petrol over himself, lights it and is kinda cheering and putting his arms in the air, then promptly jumps off. I'm sure there's worse things, but that stuck with me for some reason. The Toy Box Killer's Manifesto / introductory tape. Holy shit, that thing is one of the most messed up things I have ever read. I kept trying to stop reading it, but couldn't stop for some reason. That shit never gets out of your brain either. It just sits there. People are disgusting and capable of truly awful things. He was one sick duck. I almost puked when he started talking about his dog. I tend to let my brain intentionally filter those memories out. It's better that way. Got sent a compilation of people shooting themselves to the Happy Days theme. I can't hear that song anymore thanks to that. He thought it was hilarious. Duck that guy. Yes, duck that guy. Every day when I open up Reddit and see what's being posted on r/Insanepia Facebook, and I start to feel desperately depressed about the world we are creating for our children. It's Everyday Bro by Jake Paul. A dog being tortured before it was about to be killed to be eaten. In the video the people put a dog in a boiling cauldron and then hit it with a stick every time it tried to escape. I will never forget the screaming that was coming from the dog. As a dog lover, it broke my heart. I think I held my dog for at least an hour after it. I've heard this is common in China and other places that eat dog. They torture the dogs because they think it enhances the flavor. I'm pretty sure it was in China. The gentrification of it. When it became more accessible and more normal people began using it, everything wonderful about the internet died off or homogenized. To put what I mean into perspective, the most popular videos on YouTube in its first few years were ones that were weird or extraordinary. Now it's trust fund kids showing off their affluence and dudes pretending to scream at video games. Social media was a way to keep in touch with people before texting was free. Now it's a place for people to ducking trample each other's lives for making a joke 10 years ago. Everything wonderful about the internet died off or homogenized. I don't think this is true. It didn't die off. It moved. It isn't pushed by sites like YouTube anymore because it isn't advertiser friendly or marketable. But it still exists. The aftermath of a guy getting cut in half by a train. He tried to get up but just kept fumbling over with half of his body. Little boy in India that was on the final stages of rabies and was about to die. I was pregnant when I watched it. Just had my baby. It was truly awful. Having your child go feral to the point where that's no longer your child and there is nothing you can do for them was heartbreaking. Growling. Foaming. Just feral. I saw the video from the mosque shooting in New Zealand. That shit was horrible and I regret watching it. I saw it too. Literally looked like an FPS. So disturbing. When Ratamapoo.com was a thing. That was terrible. Russian soldiers getting their throats slit while begging for mercy. RIP. It was some sort of porn where, I believe, ladies with heels on would then squish smaller animals using their heel. Some would flop their corpses around at times to make sure it was dead. Crush porn was pretty big on those sites with torture porn and shit. 2 girls 1 cup and child pornography. I'd be careful even saying you heard of someone who's seen that shit. True. 1 guy 1 jar. I've seen this mentioned a few times. I'm going to Google it now. Edit. At first it was more impressive. Things went pretty downhill. The suspense really built up. I was hoping he'd figure it out. Man. Remind me never to do that. Nor stainless steel only from now on. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.